Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ilona Umukuro, and here on my channel, I talk about being a notary signing agent here in the state of North Carolina. But even if you're not in North Carolina, stick around because the things that we talk about may be beneficial to you if you are in the research phases of being a notary signing agent, or if you're new to being a notary signing agent. I'm sure that you're going to find these tips helpful and beneficial. So if you've been following my channel and if you've been watching my videos, previously we've talked about, the beginning steps of how to become a notary signing agent. And if you've been following those steps, if you've gotten your notary commission, you've signed up with signing companies, you've got your E&O, you've gotten your background check, you've done all of those things, then you are probably ready for your first assignment as a notary signing agent. That is so exciting. Good for you. So once you get your first assignment as a notary signing agent, the first thing that you're going to get is a confirmation email. And that is exciting. When you get that confirmation email, you're like, this is really happening. So the first thing I want to tell you is just breathe. You're going to feel a couple of different things. You're going to feel excited. You're going to feel nervous. You're going to be like, oh, I'm a little anxious, but just breathe. You've done your training. You've watched videos. You've maybe even had a mock signing with a mentor if you have one. You are ready for this, okay? So, what I like to do once I get my confirmation email is go ahead and input all of that information into whatever system you're using to keep track of your signings. So whether you're using an Excel spreadsheet or if you're using a platform such as Notary Assist or Notary Gadget, some people even use the SnapDocs platform because they have a scheduling system that's free to use. Some people don't really like SnapDocs because they feel like it's not private enough. Perhaps they could use your information to solicit your customers. So, but whatever platform you're using, I like to go ahead and get that information in there and get it saved to my electronic calendar. Whether you use a smart calendar, Google Calendar, whichever calendar you use, so that you don't miss your appointment and to keep you on time to your appointment so that you don't be late. So I like to go ahead and get all that information in there as soon as possible. And so also with your confirmation email, you're going to want to call your signers and confirm the details that are in your email. So be pleasant, of course, friendly, professional, verify their name, because the tone that you set on that confirmation call, a lot of times sets the tone for how your signing is going to go. If you can get a good rapport with them over the phone, it's going to make it go a little bit smoother when you arrive at their home or their office or the public place, wherever it is they ask for you to meet for the signing. It's going to make it that much more smoother when you're face to face. So go ahead, be friendly, get a rapport with them. If you're, be yourself, do what's comfortable to you. If you're the jokey joke person, that you can kind of break the ice with a joke that's in good taste and good standing, all that kind of thing. You can do that if you get a feel that your signer over the phone may appreciate something like that. Now, if that's not you, that's not your personality, I wouldn't recommend doing anything that doesn't feel natural to you. Me personally, I'm not the jokey joke person, when I first meet someone. So that's not something I would do. But I have a friend who's a signing agent. He jokes all the time. So, he gets his signers laughing on the phone. So they already know, oh, this guy's a character when he gets here. So do what's natural to you, what's within your personality to make them feel comfortable with who you are. Also, during the confirmation call is a good time to ask them, have they already had a chance to look over the docs? Most of the time, the loan officer may go ahead and send them specific docs. Um, Specifically, like the closing disclosure, you can ask them, have they had a chance to look at that to see if there is any cash to close? And what that is do they have to wire or write a check for any funds that you're supposed to collect to turn back in with their package? It's a good idea just to ask that off the bat, I think, because you don't want to get to the signing and you see the closing disclosure and you're like, oh, and you're supposed to write a check for X amount of dollars. And they're like, I'm supposed to write a check? I've had it happen more than a few times. So after a few times of, my signers being surprised by a cash to close amount, I learned to just ask that during a confirmation call. And that way, when I arrive, it's not a surprise. So, getting information like that during your confirmation call is definitely a good idea. Also, ask them about any landmarks just in case GPS is iffy in their neighborhood, or, ask them, is it pretty easy to find with GPS? Some neighborhoods, you don't have a problem with GPS. Others, especially here in North Carolina, when you're in the rural parts, they'll be able to tell you. They've had people try to find their house before. They usually can tell you, oh, GPS is not going to work out here. You need to look for this, and this. So it's good to ask, depending on where you live and where you are. Okay, so the second most important thing, or I should say the second step, and probably one of the most important things that you'll do, read your instructions. Um, Even if you're dealing with a company that you've dealt with before multiple times and you know their instructions like the back of your hand, it's good to read the instructions because they can sometimes change. I've had that happen. I have one company I've worked with for a long time, and I'm so familiar with their package. And then I was reading over the instructions and I was like, oh, this is different. They don't usually ask for this, but this time they are. So read your instructions because they can change. So even if it's someone that you're familiar with and you feel like, oh, I already know what the instructions are, read them anyway. Read your instructions. That's going to save you from getting, the company wanting to dip into your fee or waiving the fee or whatever because you didn't follow the instructions. So just make sure that you do that. And then you're going to print your loan documents. They usually will have instructions for printing as well if they're mixed sizes. Some will say that it's okay for you to print them all on letter as long as you make sure that the legal size pages fit the printed area. Some of them want you specifically to just use mixed sizes, and you're going to want to make sure that you check your paper by the PDF size so that it prints on the right size paper. So definitely look at that. A couple of other tips that we'll mention is if it's your first signing, and there are some mixed reviews about this, you may want to prep your docs beforehand. Is it something that you want to do every signing? That's going to be up to you. And what I mean by prep your docs is you may want to use those little tabs that say sign here, notarize here, initial here. For your very first signing, it helps settle my nerves to know that once I get to the table, all I have to do is really just be very careful. I know exactly where they're supposed to sign. I know exactly where I'm supposed to notarize. But if you're the type of person that you don't need that type of, attention, you may be, the rarity. But I found it very helpful for my very first signing, just to make myself feel comfortable. So, and before you print, I think it's a good idea to kind of look at the docs on the screen. You sometimes a doc may not be fully scanned; it may be cut off on the actual screen of what they sent to you. You want to catch stuff like that early so that you can go ahead and call the company that hired you and let them know, hey, look at page XYZ. And I can tell you, I've had it happen where I had to call and tell them, hey, this is like this on a doc. And they're like, oh, are you sure? And I'm like, yes, I'm looking at it. If you'll flip to the page that I'm telling you about, you'll see it. So definitely do that. So those are just a few tips for your first signing. Hopefully, if you have a signing coming up, or even if you've had a signing, hopefully these tips will help you with your future signing. If you're just getting started, or if you're awaiting your first signing, these tips are going to help you be successful with your very first notary signing agent assignment. All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in today. I appreciate you.